continue.
There
We're
we go.
good to go.
All right.
Wow.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, mobile is great. I'm just going to turn this thing off. I'm gonna get out of Zoom and get back in to make sure the recording is still going. Okay.
Got it.
Just to make sure everything's going to go.
It looks like it's doing all right.
Maybe I'll leave my phone and mute it.
I was going to say, set somebody as a co-host so we can manage it.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, 'cause
Who we got? How about Doug? You sound like a good
Well,
co-host.
yeah, because since he's familiar with the recording ability, that would make sense.
I'll make Doug the host. How's that?
Oh, thanks.
There you go.
There's not much to it.
No, I know. I've done this before in WebEx.
Okay. You are now the official host, Doug, and recording should go if I leave. Should continue. I'm going to leave and come back.
Jodi's the one that did his recording, correct?
No, I
Yeah.
started it just now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
All right.
where's it
So
going?
I'm
Is it going to the
going to
cloud?
leave and make sure this works before I get out of here, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thanks again. And double thanks to you, Doug.
No
Okay.
problem.
So with that, let's go ahead and get started.
He's going to come back to make sure it's working.
Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, my
I think
display.
we lost
Did
our
that,
host again. Yeah, but it came in and he was the host. So I think Jeff's the host. So you may have to reset Doug as the host again. When you came back in, it said. you were-
Okay, let's see. Great. Probably because I'm the account owner. Let's find our participants. Doug, yeah, it reset that. Make host.
Did the recording
You're the
continue?
host, Doug.
Did the recording continue?
It's still saying recording.
Yeah,
Okay.
my
All
display
right.
says it's recording.
I don't know where
Okay.
it's going, but
We're good to go.
All right. Excellent. Okay. Thank you, everybody. So sorry for the delay, a few technicalities there, but I think we're good to go. So welcome everybody to the August edition of the University Lowbrow Astronomers. As you probably know, I'm Charlie Nielsen, the president of the club. After our speaker, we'll have probably some reports from some of the other officers. But as traditional, we will have our guest speaker first. So that way, if anybody was only here for that, did not want to participate in the business meeting, we might let you escape. So, and also keep in mind, as you just noted, we are being recorded on YouTube. So with that, our speakers tonight are Roy and Jodi McCollough, who have been doing astrophotography since 2003, and they say they're still learning. They're going to be presenting processing pictures with Images Plus, which by the way is still a free download. During the day, they are both retired high school science teachers, and they both are teaching some college classes. So with that, the floor is yours.
okay. Well, I think I'm presenting and Roy's going to correct me.
We'll try.
Does that work? So let me go ahead and share my screen, see if this will work. This is what I want to share. See if it comes up. Okay, are you seeing my
You got it.
PowerPoint? Okay, now I get this out of the way. Slideshow. Beginning. All right. So this is about Images Plus, which is a processing program. It's been around for quite a while. Mike Unsold, the author, lives a half an hour from us. We have monthly meetings with him, and he just kind of decided he didn't want to support the program anymore and made it free about a year ago. Normally, it was around a $350, $360 purchase, so now it's free. The bad news is nothing's been upgraded, but there's still ways of working around those issues, so I'll talk to you about that one. So first of all, if you want this program, it's www.mlunsold.com. I lost the .com. And I did email, I don't know if you got this, I emailed a guide. It's just our workflow. It's not polished, but it gives you something. So you don't have to be scrambling here, taking notes as we go along. You've got a packet to follow. And if you have questions as we go through, feel free to stop me. I don't know, Charlie, what kind of a time frame? I never did ask what kind of a time frame you work under. Uh-oh, you're muted. I didn't get that because you were muted. Still muted. I'll just keep talking and you'll just have to shut me off then. That works. That works.
Yeah,
Okay.
Charlie, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I was trying to say, take as much time as you need.
Oh, wait a minute.
Uh-oh, watch out.
You don't
She
want
can
that.
do this.
That was dangerous.
Well, we can all get bored and leave at any time, so.
Guys,
That's
wander
true.
off and just leave. I guess I should ask, let me stop sharing for a minute because I'm kind of really curious to see, as I look at the group here, can you, I guess, just raise your hand or put the little chat thing up? How many of you image? Okay, so we got a few imagers here. Okay, that's good to see. So what I thought would do is show a little bit what we can do with processing. So this is a picture of M16 before processing, straight out of the camera. Interesting looking, but with processing, of course, that's where you see the changes. So this is after processing. This was all done with Images Plus. This is Thor's helmet. You can barely see it, but after processing, you definitely notice the difference. This is the veil, the Western veil, I think this is. And of course, after processing, got some improvements. M08, 108, I think. The Owl Nebula, little galaxy there. And after processing, of course. Now that's cropped a little bit, but. And what we're working on tonight, the Lagoon and Trifid. So there it is. Actually looked pretty good coming out of the camera. But then, and it just depends on how much you want to do. This is after processing. So we are going to kind of run through that. So let me pull up Images. Okay, I want to pull up the website first to show you how to navigate. There it is. So this, are you seeing this right now? Mike's on.
Yes.
Okay, so this is Mike Unsold's website. And if you'll scroll down, you'll see free Images Plus 6.5 download. That's where you get this. There are a lot of tutorials. Mike has a lot of tutorials there. My stuff is just different. It's just my workflow. And I don't know that he updated anything on April the 2020, but anyway, there's a camera control too. We don't use the camera control. We use Backyard EOS. And there's a lot of places to get some help. So there's where you look for it. And it's just mlunsold.com. So without further ado, let's pull up Images Plus. We're going to walk through the processing of, where is it? Oh, did I lose it? Okay, be that way. So here's how it opens. And if you have the worksheet that I sent, I'm just going to kind of start there. I will caution you because Mike hasn't updated. The newer cameras will not, it does not recognize, Canon especially, will not recognize the RAWs. Images Plus will not recognize the RAWs. We got a new camera and it was an CR3. It didn't do that. But I had a student in the fall who had a new camera, but it was a CR2. And I figured, oh, she's fine. And it recognized it, but the colors were really off. So the workaround for this is that use your, I don't know what it does for Nikons, and we only use Canons. Use your the software that came with your computer or your camera to convert your RAW files into TIFFs. And then Images Plus will recognize them. So that's what we've been doing. It's kind of a little bit of a pain, but it works. There's a couple other things that you'll need to do because of that. And I've got this on the top of that sheet, and I'll show you what I mean there. So we'll start out with, this is calibrating, aligning, and combining many images into a single one. And by calibrating, I know we've had other workshops on imaging. You take your light frames, you take your dark frames that will get rid of noise, And then flats, get rid of vignetting and dust donuts, and then dark flats. And we do all four. Dark flats help with your flats. So under image set operations is where we start. And we'll go to automatic. So that's the very first one, automatic DSLR. You can do, in fact, we just bought a ZWO cool camera. We haven't used it yet, but we should be able to process just fine. I know Mike has had people do that in our sessions and it works. So you want to choose that automatic. And when it comes up, everybody seeing this okay?
Yes,
Okay. All right. So if you'll note, typically when you download, it's going to come up with this radio button check, Bayer at capture white balance. And that works fine. But when you do the TIFFs, if you have to convert your raw files into TIFFs, it will give you an error. So I'm going to leave it there for a minute and see what it does. So light frames, well, I'll show you. So you have to click on each of these buttons to load the frames. Now we're going to speed this up a bit because I don't want to load all the pictures. So I'm just going to do 2 or 3 so you can see the processing quickly, and then we'll go on. So select light frames. And you can navigate to where your frames are, and I've got them here. So these are some, I'm only going to choose, I think I had 65 of them. We'd have to sit here and watch. I'm just going to choose 3. And I open those. Okay, so it's got them there. Then, and you can delete if you want to. Then you go to dark frames. Again, you're going to select dark frames. Now it will go there because that's where I was. It'll automatically go to the last folder you use. So I just happen to have been in this folder already, so it goes to the right folder. So we usually shoot about 10 darks for everything we do, but I'm only going to open up 3 of them. And just as a reminder, your light frames, whatever ISO setting you have, whatever length your exposure, your darks need to be identical. So we were shooting these at 800 ISO. That seems to be pretty much the sweet spot for most of the Canon cameras we've worked with. And then these were 120 seconds. And so our darks were, I did 10 darks at 800 ISO at 120 seconds. Then the flats can be different ISO. We tend to shoot them the same ISO. They can be a different ISO, and they will definitely be a different length. You want to expose until you have half well, which is middle of the histogram. So I'll select my light frames or flat frames. Yeah, there we go, flat frames. So I've got, again, I have 10, but I'm just going to select 3 of them just to speed us up here. And then finally the flat darks, which are the same as the flat frames. They're the same length, they're the same ISO setting. They're just with the cap. So the dark frames and the dark flat frames are with the telescope capped. All the rest are not. So light frame, when we do our flat frames, we have a light box we use. I've never had very good success with twilight flats. Okay, so I'm going to select my dark flats. I do try to label them so I know that's what I've got. So there they are. So I've selected all of them, and you can run through and see that there's the pictures that we've selected. And of course, typically I'll have 10, 10, 10, and maybe 50 light frames. So then you go into the process tab. And I'm going to deliberately leave this checked so you can see the error. So I'm going to tell it the process. And this is the error you get. And this only happens with the newer cameras that you've taken your raw frames and turned them over to TIFFs. It just says all dark frames and other selected frames must be the same size and their color type much match the selected image. So really what you want, I think this, every time it's done it, it's worked. We have a friend who just got a camera. He didn't switch the automatic rotation. And so he was taking pictures in one orientation, and when he parked it, it was a different orientation. Images Plus wouldn't let him do that. He had to re-rotate them. So it's just wise to turn that feature off on your camera. You can, with Images Plus or with your camera software, rotate those images, but then you never know if you've got the right rotation or not. So it's just best not to have that. So that color capture white balance. And now you can choose to normalize, grade, align. I just never do. I like to have control over that. Normalizing would be some of your frames are lighter, some of them are darker. I just have never seen a need for that. So I'm going to hit process. Now, this is the step that it takes a while if you've got a lot of pictures. And this is still be pretty fast. So typically I'll get this started and I'll go do something else and I'll come back and do it. So whereas it takes a long time to get the processing done, I'm not really sitting at the computer for that long. So if you're following along, this is under number 1 and we've done, let's see, where are we? Automatic. So we're at step F under number 1 and it's just about done here. So at this point, we're getting rid of the noise, the vignetting, the dust motes, and just calibrating each of the light frames. We're not combining them now, so it's done. So it's done. Getting rid of hot pixels. So at this point, it's done. So now we're at step 2. We need to align these. So all it's done is it's fixed all the errors in the light frames. So now under align TSR, that's translate, scale, and rotate. That's what that stands for. You want to click on that align TSR. And if I'm going too fast, or if you miss something, just jump in. This is really not a, lecture. This is just, we're learning through this. So align TSR. And I want to choose all these calibrated images. These are the ones that I've done the darks and flats to. So I'm going to say, okay. It'll pull that one of them up. And with this box, and this box, you've got choices. I could do translate only. That would align on one point only. I don't like that. You could do translate and rotate, or if you're doing things where your scale changed, maybe I don't know, you'd be combining from 2 different cameras so that things are not the same scale. So I'm going to I always typically choose translate and rotate. Okay, so this is under number 2 now. And this is on the reference image. If you try to stack, and I'll talk to you about this one, this will should stack this fine. Maybe your camera, maybe you've taken 100 pictures and your tracking wasn't good. And this whole thing moved quite a bit during that. Sometimes it will not be able to recognize, if there's a lot of stars in there, it doesn't recognize the star and it'll just streak on you. If that's the case, and it's happened to us quite a bit, you want to choose on each image. And when you do that, and I'm not really going to spend it, but you choose a common point or star, and then you have to go to each image and say, here's the star, here's the star, here's the star. So I would maybe pick one and say, I'll recognize that on every image. So there's that star. And I would still do translate and rotate, so it would do that. But I would prefer that it does it for me. So I'm going to on reference, and I'm going to pick common point or star. And I want to pick them kind of sort of as far apart as they can, sort of not in the same line, sort of a diagonal. But I like to pick stars. Oh, I didn't have it there. Okay. I like to pick, I want to translate and rotate. I like to pick stars that are kind of isolated so that the program doesn't get confused. This one looks pretty good to me. You don't want too big of a star because it won't line up very well. This one's fine. And that's going to be my first one. So I'm going to tell it all my pictures there, that's the star, and it'll put a little box there. And then I need to pick a second star, and I'm still in the same image. And I don't know, I think I chose this one. It looked pretty good. So I'm going to diagonal. That should be good. So I've got my 2 stars selected on that reference image. Now, hopefully, if everything's lined up and with 2, 3 images, it will do it. Although I did it with 62, and we didn't lose. We were tracking pretty well that night. So I'm just going to tell align. So now it's going through and it's aligning all the pictures so they are all at that same point. So we are at, let me see, under alignment. We've done that. Again, so this is 2F, so we wait. So it's aligned those. If you were doing 60, 70 images, it might take you 5, 10 minutes, depending on the speed of your computer. I don't want to combine input. I want to combine the ones I've aligned. So we are now, if you're following with my internet connection's unstable, this is number 3 then, combine the aligned images into a single image. So I'm going to go to align. You've got some choices here. Mike Unsold would tell you better about which ones to choose. There are times some are better than the other. I typically choose the min-max, excluded average. You can play with that to see. They've got a lot of other choices. I don't know where you want to talk about any of that, or Not, I mean,
You read about which.
you can read about what they do, but I like that one. So I'm just
Since
gonna,
you only got 3 images, it's gonna come to the middle one.
well, right, it's only gonna do my middle one, but well, just,
Okay.
okay, so I'm gonna combine.
Hey, Jodi, I have a question.
Sure.
So I didn't have time to look at your guide stuff that you sent out earlier. Do you have some of these choices, what you typically do outlined in that guide, or is that something else?
I don't think I don't know if I do or not there. What did I say here? Let me see.
You did.
Yeah, I have on there that I just choose min, max, excluded, average. I usually choose that. Now, since I only had 3 pictures that talk throughout the first and the last, this is the middle picture. But if you had 60, you'd have something good. At this point, I'm gonna, what you would want to do before you do any other processing, this is the combined, stacked, calibrated image. Dust motes hopefully are gone. I would save this so that you don't have to go through all this stacking and combining and aligning again. Save it. So if you don't like what you've done in processing, you come back to it. So I've got that here. What I see, do I have to do that? I think I should, yeah. So save as a copy. So I would just come in here and file, save as, and it would save it wherever you want to save it. I'm not going to save this one because I want to pull up the one now that I just stacked with 62 images because I will get better results. So at this point, we can play with this image, but definitely save it before you go any further. That way you've got it. I am getting rid of, Mike always yells at me, clean your desktop off. So I'm getting rid of everything here because there's a lot of stuff. I will go in now. I want to open the one I saved and I put it in. It's really, it took me a long time. Oh, where is it? Put it in the lights. Yes, it's there. It took me a long time to come up with the scheme of how to organize these. And I'm going to make a new folder in here. I call it process. So I have a folder for my lights, my flats, my flat darks, and my darks. And then I've got a folder where I will put all my process. So that's where I would have just saved that image. I didn't do that, but here it is. That's the image, the combined files, excluded average. So that's the one I want to play with. And this one is one that was a stack of 62 images. Okay, so now we can do some processing. So we are at where it says stretch the single image and adjusting. So because I don't know if you can see this, but it did move a little bit, and I've got some things going on the edges that will make up my histogram look kind of weird. So I'm going to crop this before I even go further. And I cropped it, so this is really my focus is these two. So the crop button, I don't know if I got that on here. Mike's got things labeled, so if you hover over each of these buttons, it'll tell you what they do.
But you can also find it under
You can also find it other places, but this is the, yeah, I've got it there. So this is the, it says copy a portion of the image. I'm going to select that, and then I just come down where I want to copy, and I will hold my left mouse down and click and drag, and that's pretty good. Since that's what I want to work with, I will get rid of it's saved. There's my other one. And it's kind of big and I can't see very well. So at the top here, you'll see little, what looks like little magnifying glasses. If you have a bunch of pictures open, you can shrink them all or expand them all. Since I don't, I will just do this one. I'm going to shrink it down just a little bit so it doesn't get in my way. So that's my picture cropped, so I can start doing some things. At this point, I want to stretch my image. So this is step 2 under stretching single images. So under stretch, there are 2 stretches. There's digital development and there's ArcSign H. ArcSign H does a good job sometimes when you've got some color that it doesn't seem like the color gets lost. ArcSign H helps you with that. And a lot of people rather use ArcSign H. I prefer digital development, so that's what I'm going to walk you through. But ArcSign H is there too, and you can play with that. It's a little more complicated. But so digital development lets us then process. So I'm going to shrink this a little bit more so it's just not in our way here. All right, so I'm going to drag this over. Are you seeing that okay? Everybody seeing it fine? All right, so here's my choices here. I I'm going to try and stretch this, but I also want to keep track of whether I'm clipping it or losing things. So in the top menu bar, if you hover over this little blue graph, that's a histogram, it'll let you look at the histogram of what you have. So there's my histogram for this particular picture. So I want to see the histogram. And I want to make sure I don't clip the side. I will be starting down here at the bottom, breakpoint highlights. I think I can't read my own my glasses on, but I think I've got that there. Hopefully I've got all this written down here. So breakpoint slider, I'm just going to move it over.
Label slider to the left.
Move it over. I mean, sometimes I do this particular picture, I don't think I need to. So I'm going to put it right about there. Now, if you'll notice, I've lost stuff. My histogram says you lost them. That's because I've got to change the background weight. So really these two things have to be changed. Your breakpoint highlights and background weight. So we will drag this up. You can overdo it. Now I'm seeing my whole curve. I don't want this. I don't want it chopped because I've lost data. And I don't want to go that far because that's too much. So I'll use this to kind of come back and see where there really is. That's about it. The other thing you might want to check is you might want to make sure that you haven't clipped any of your colors. So if I go into red, I've clipped the red. So I'll go red, blue, and green. So I want to make sure I don't lose any of my red because that's what this picture is. So I will just crank this up a little bit more. And there I've got my red there. So it should be fine. Don't worry that it's just, I don't like the way that looks. We'll adjust that later. So you just want to make sure you don't get rid of any of your data. So I've checked the histogram for all my colors and nothing is clipped there. I've probably got a little bit more than I needed to. So let me go back. I can nudge it a little bit. No, that's okay. All right. So then I'm just going to apply. I think it's already done it, and then I will get rid of this. So I'm done with my stretching. At this point, you've got a lot of, there's no particular order that you can do things in. I think the next thing I have.
Check out the image. It should be significantly brighter with your object clearly visible.
Yeah.
Depending on your image, you'll need to make some adjustments here.
Right.
Now
So-
we're going to go levels.
So under
Number 3.
stretch, there's a number 3 now. Under stretch, I'm going to go to levels. Which is the very top. And again, I have the histogram. And I will choose each of my colors. I'm going to start with red. You want this line right where the curve begins to come up. Looks like red's fine. So I'm leaving it alone. Green. Green, I'm going to move this slider over to my green starts right there where the hill begins. And the same thing with my blue. Let's see what blue looks like. It same way. Let's see what happens here. Okay. The other thing so that's with level black. Now I'm going to take care of the right end, which is the white balance. I'm going to check white. I'll just go ahead and start with blue. I want to move this to right where it starts. So I will move the right side over to right about there. And I'll go through each of the colors again, green. I don't know why on mine the green doesn't show up there. I think it's right there though. And then it's green. I don't know why it's doing that. And then red. The red's right here. I guess that's why I don't see it. There we go. All right. Okay. So I'm done. So that's number 3. Now you can, again, the order you do this is up to you. I think it's too much red. So I can go on, this is number 4. I can adjust the color. So I'll come under here and you want to go to color balance. Oh no, I'm sorry, reduce RGB. There's other things that you can do there. Images Plus is very complicated. There's a lot of things there, but to get the basics, to get a picture is pretty easy. So I'm going to reduce RGB. It comes up expecting to reduce the green, but I want to reduce the red. So I'm going to click on the red and I think I need more. I'm just going to drag the slider over and it should keep doing that. Doesn't look too bad. Maybe a little bit more. This was taken with the Canon's new RA camera, so it's super red sensitive, and I think it kind of overdoes it at times. So I'm going to go just a little bit more and see what it looks like. Okay, I'm still getting that. Okay, so
You're not
All right.
really-
So I'm in the Milky Way, so there's where I am. So there, got rid of a lot of the red. I'll just say done. I'm just going in order, but this order is not significant. The next thing I've got there is to sharpen. I don't think this image needs sharpen, but sometimes you will. Under smooth sharpening, you want to do multi-resolution. Smooth sharpening, it's the second one down. And then you've got the sliders that will let you change. I don't need to change that in this picture, but let's go. And all of these buttons you can overdo, so you have to kind of be careful there. Well, maybe I'll leave that one. I don't know if I need to sharpen, but I will a little bit. And you can change different, I always start with the most and work my way down to the finest. You need to smooth, you go the other direction, but I never use this for smoothing. Anyway, so that's there. Sometimes we will do this particular image. I don't think you need to do that. So I'm just going to tell it done. If you've got noise or a gradient under color, you want to choose, where does it say? It's under color? That's what I got.
Says under color,
Smooth.
choose smoothing and noise reduction.
Where have I moved it? It's not under color. Oh, it's
Yeah.
not under color.
Cross that off, put down.
Here, fix
Smooth sharp.
under smooth sharpen. Sorry about that. It's not under color. It is smooth sharpen. Oh, and you can clone out things here if you want to. What do I have them going to there? This one.
Smoothing and noise reduction.
Reduction, smoothing and noise reduction. No, smoothing and noise reduction. Okay. And you can change your blur window. I don't think I need to smooth this one, but some images it's pretty
The higher
grainy.
the number, the smoother.
So you can change the window. If you go really high, it actually smooths it too much. And I'm going to do that just to show you what it looks like. I'm going to go 100 by 103 by 103. And I'll leave it on Gaussian. I'll just tell it to apply.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's real smooth.
Blurred me way too much, but some images you might need that. So let's go back. I will just do maybe a 9 by 9 and try it. Apply. That looks okay. I don't think I really needed the smooth sharpening, but if you need it, that's where it goes. If you want to, if you've got too many stars, this picture to me is distracting. I've got too many stars. I know that's real. It's part of the Milky Way, but I don't like it. There's a couple of ways to get rid of stars. One of them is under smooth sharpening. And if you come down, you'll see where it says star size reduction and smoothing. Now, I want to keep track of what I've done. I want to see what improvement it made. So I'm going to click on my picture and I'm going to tell it this is under, and I don't think I've got these in the directions, under view. I want to duplicate the image to scale. That way I will have a copy so I can compare. And I want to reduce both of these in size. So now I'm going to click on this right button here with the magnifying glass. I'll just click on that and I'll shrink them both down a little bit so they're both there. So I want to select this one. I want to reduce the stars. I've got strength of 9, window size of 9. You can play with that. I'm going to do maybe 3 iterations. Let's apply it and see what it does. The effect you really want is probably more subtle, but it makes a difference. See what's coming through right now. What you'll notice while it's the operations in progress, there's a green box around that image. So you can see this one's the one that it's working on. And I saw a little change there. It's done in one of the iterations. That's the second one now. And this also will smooth for you too. Okay, so it's not a strong effect. In fact, you might want it a little more. Again, this is your preference, but do you notice that it has reduced the stars a little bit? And again, I could go stronger, maybe 15, why that one, see what it does. You can just play with those. Then you get something you like. Of course, if you do it too much, then it's going to smooth it too much and you're going to lose your picture. I just want to get rid of some of these stars. I think maybe when I was playing around with this, maybe 4 iterations, but running through it now. I have a pretty fast computer here, so if you've got a slow computer, these things do take some time. Again, you might not need to do any of these things. The first ones are the main things. So there it is. I mean, to me, it's not a big difference, but there's enough of a difference. You can, to me, the nebula stand out more. Okay. If you think your background's uneven, I'm going to do that with this one. So I'm going to go ahead and go back, make this one go a little bit bigger so I can see it again. This was, oh, I accidentally copied the top. I'm going to get rid of this one since I'm happier with this one. I can go in and change the background. Notice I've got something happening here. This is real dark. This is not so dark. So this is under number 8, uneven background. If you need an adjustment, you want to go under special functions. And you want background compensation. And so let me move this out of the way so you can see it. We're going to go to planar. Get rid of this one too. Okay. Actually, do I want Gaussian? Okay. Well, all right. So I'll go maximum. I can do a couple. There's a couple ways of doing this one. So I want maximum change to where, like light here, like there, and minimum change to here. Try to avoid the stars. So let's see what happens here. Okay, it helped a little bit. So it kind of smoothed things out so that this was not, my background's pretty uniform. Now it kind of darkened everything for me, so I can go in and change that. And if you don't like it, go back and redo it. That's one way. There is another way. Oh, where is it? Under special functions, multi-point. I don't have that on there. I don't have this direction. So there's two choices of that background compensation. Multi-point background flatten lets you choose points. You can select a background point and you just click on it. And as you do, you click on the corners and usually the center, and it'll try to adjust them all, but they were already adjusted. So this is fine. So there's actually two different ways to kind of flatten your background if you don't like that. So it darkened things for me. I want to brighten things up. So this is number 9. You can go under stretch and under microcurves. And microcurves lets you do, and Mike's tried to explain this to me 5,000 times, and I just play with it till I get what I like. So you can click on these buttons and move things. So if I want to move this one up, that makes everything a little brighter. I can move the other one up there. I don't know, you can obviously go too much. That's way too much. And if you move it down, you can move them down. Sometimes you need that. It's hard. Oh, when I get it up at the edge, it's really hard for me to move it. So I can click on default and I can go one of these. Okay, so that one, I don't like that one. So I'm just going to come up and go about there. Okay, maybe brighter than I want. And my stars are showing up too much. So maybe want to reduce my stars more. Again, you just have to kind of go back and do that. Maybe I'll drop these both down a little bit since I don't want them to be quite so bright. It's kind of hard sometimes to click on this. I'm dropping them down. There. Okay. And then when you're done, when you're happy, and it's a matter of personal preference, everybody will process it. It never ceases to amaze me. I see the Orion Nebula, and everybody's got it looking different. I've never seen anything to their life. So, and the cat has come to visit. So I'm done. Okay, what else do I have on there?
Have distortion, add out.
Oh, sometimes if you're using a camera lens, you might get some distortion at the edges. I don't have that here. That looks like I've lost my smoothing, my background. So I might want to go back. There's the cat coming to visit. I might want to go back and do multi-point background flatten. Let me just try this one. Select background points. I'll go here, here, center, here. And you can actually increase it a little bit if you need to. Go back. Sorry, the cat loves to attack me. Okay, so I'm done. So again, you can kind of play with that. Still, I seem to have it. So maybe I'll go back under multi-special functions and do background compensation. Cat. Maximum change, I want to here. Minimum change, I want to there. Again, I got it maybe darker than I want, but I can back that off a little bit. I kind of like that. If you've got some dust motes that your flat frames did not get rid of, you can go in and get rid of those. I'm done here. The order that you do this, it doesn't much matter. So you want to go under smooth sharpen, oops, smooth sharpen. And if you come down here where it says local smooth sharpen clone, column fix and paint, that's what we're going to collect, hit, and you can come in. I'm going to destroy this picture, and you can clone. So maybe I don't like this. I can choose a point. I can maybe make this my window size probably bigger than that. Well, my effect size, let's go bigger. And I can choose a point here, right click. Okay, right click to choose what I want to clone. And then I can come in and clone that. Notice, do you see my image is changing a little bit? I'm getting rid of some of this red. It's too red. But you can clone out. If I want to get rid of the star, I can clone and get rid of him. Not that I want to, but let's do it again. If I need a bigger window, effect size, let's see here. Let me get something bigger. Okay, so I can get rid of that star right now. So, I mean, you can change the effects if you want to. I'll get rid of this star right here. Not that I want to, but now it's gone. So you can get rid of defects that, sorry, hue.
And not cats.
But not cats. There's no feature that lets you delete a cat. It's a shame. Okay, smoothing the background. There are some tricks to go in to smooth the background. I've got the directions for that, but I really don't want to go into that because it involves using masks. But I'll just point out a few other things. Now, if I'm happy with the picture, I'm happy at this point. I'll stop it. You can, under special functions, under geometric, if it's too big, because you might have a camera that's got a lot of pixels and then it's going to give you a big picture. Like I can't post it if it's too big. Under transforms, you can tell it to scale this. And if I look here, it says 21%. I don't have this down the directions, I don't think. 21%, I will scale this image by 0.21. You aren't going to see a difference, but it won't be as many, won't be as big a picture. So I'll apply it. So whereas you can't see it now, it's not as many megapixels as it was. You could rotate it if you want to there. I mean, there's a lot of features here that I haven't talked about, but these are, we just kind of hit the basics of getting started. So I'm done there. So I wanted to save this. So under file, you can, and again, these are some of the, Mike's got great tutorials on this. You can actually save your project so you know exactly what you've done, so that you come in and you want to do the same thing to another picture, you can just run through it and it will do it. There's
Sure, probably the history.
there's a history. Again, these are the advanced features. There's a history here that tells you everything you've done, all the steps you've done. So if you didn't like a step, you could click on it and delete it, get rid of it. That's where it's there, but not necessary to get a good picture to get started. File, save copy as. This is where I put them in a folder called process, so I know what they are. And if I'm really happy with it, say, okay, I want to keep this one, and I want to put this on the web. I'm going to save as a JPEG. I might call it M8, M20, and now I've got that. So if I go in to my file, where is it? Here. There it is. And now I can see there's my picture that I was working with. And you might find when you go big, you say, oh, it's got a lot more grain than I thought. I need to go back and modify a bit. So, I mean, it's a matter of playing around and doing some things like that. So let me see, where was I? So there's my picture. Some other things you can do, and I'm not walking through this, but like, again, if you want to smooth the background, there's some things with masks, and I've got special instructions on using masks. It's taken me a long time to understand how the mask thing works, but you could, let's say, I want to get rid of all those stars. They're driving me crazy. You could use a mask and get rid of the stars, enhance the nebula,
really helpful
and
when
bring
you're
it
doing
back.
comet.
Yeah, when you're doing a comet, and I've got directions there for comet processing too. So if we ever get a good comet, it's always nice to have the comet and the background stars as points. But if you're imaging your comet's moving with respect to stars. So if you've taken a lot of pictures of the comet, when you combine those, you're going to get streaking stars. You can either stack on the comet or stack on the stars. So I've got the instructions here, processing comet images. You can go in and so that you've got point stars and a comet that's not streaked. You can go in and do that. So those directions are there. I think that's the last one I got, right?
Yep.
That's it. So that's kind of an images plus in a nutshell. And I don't know if you have any questions or anything that I didn't make clear, but you know, there are a lot of nice tutorials. Mike's got a lot of features up here that I've not even talked about. You can mouse. These are some of the masks, different masks that you can use. That is the higher end game for me. I can do most of what I want with the things I've just shown you. I don't know that I like this as well as what I did when I processed it. Let me open it and see. So every time you go through something, where did I put it? Oh, I know where it is. It's in my, it's in my PowerPoint. Let me look at it. I think I've overdone it. Something's not right there.
Yeah,
It looked better.
You messed with it.
Yeah, I messed with it probably more than.
intentionally.
So it's from current slides. So there's the one that I processed before. I think it's still a little bit too bright in here, a little bit too red. And this RA camera really enhances the red. Some of these stars have a red halo around that you really kind of want to get rid of. But anyway, that's the easy, quick, easy way to do this. If you're really interested in Images Plus, we do meet. Mike, we have Zoom meetings with Mike, walking through how to use Images Plus. Let me know and I'll put you in the Zoom call. Does anybody have any questions?
It was just a thought. The red that you didn't like, that's actually is part of the background nebulosity of the Milky Way there. I've got
Right.
many images got that in there. It's just a matter
Right.
of what do you like.
Again, right, it's your personal preference, what it is that
Yeah.
you like. Like I said, every time I've seen the Orion Nebula, I said, well, it's all different colors, it's different shades. We have a friend who images and his Veil Nebula is weird colors. I'm like, what'd you do? How'd you do that? But right, you're right. And the red is there. It just, to me, it bothers me.
Yep. Well, the other thing you see is a lot of people use the Hubble palette, or, which is gives you weird colors on things like M42 and the Veil.
Right, they do. So,
Jodi,
I was gonna say that I'm sure Doug has a ton of tips and variants. You go to the Michigan Amateur webpage and you see all the different specs and the different software packages that are combined to give all these fancy images their flavor, and people spending hours and hours on these images. I thought digital was supposed to make things easier, but
So Norbert, I have an answer for that.
yeah.
Okay. My images are 80 percentile. It takes me 15 minutes to process, period. The other 20%, like the Strubles and the Beers and those guys, that last 20%, they're stitching out, masking stars and things like that takes hours.
yes.
Yeah.
But the first, I can show you almost all of my images I process in 15 minutes. I use Deep Sky Stacker to do all the calibrations, and I use PixInsight for the rest.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't spend hours processing my data.
No,
That's
but you
good.
could, you can.
Yeah, you can.
Right.
Well, I'm also thinking here, you're looking at your dark background there and wondering what Edward Emerson Bernard would think of this from 120 years ago, and where this is going to go in the next 20 years, and frankly in another 100 years. It's pretty amazing what amateurs are pulling out. I saw an image of Jupiter just the other day on that Michigan page, and you could see details, orange and whites on Io around Jupiter. Right?
Wow.
Wow, I thought, wow, they're pulling some really amazing data out of the images, and the Jupiter pictures, now that it's at opposition, are
Oh, they're outstanding. Those are
Yeah.
amazing to look at.
yes, they are. Does this, do you have planetary images, Jodi, on and using this?
You know, I don't use this for planetary. We could. I don't use it for planetary processing. I don't think it does as well as some of the other planetary processing. But what I do is when I finish it, then I bring it in and I do the sharpen and the other things I want smooth. I my touch up, what a lot of people do in Photoshop, I do in Images Plus.
Yeah, I heard you talking about Pix Insight, and I know one of our imagers likes to do about 3/4 of his stuff in Pix Insight, but then some of the things Images Plus does faster and better. He'll go back to Images Plus to finish the project.
Do you use SharpCap at all?
No, I haven't used that.
Okay.
No.
That seems to be a popular program, especially with the ZWO cameras.
It's real popular with short F ratios for EAA, for electronic assist, basically for live shows for people online.
Yeah, well, I tend to use that. I'm going to use it for the observational class simply because it's accessibility and ease of use,
Yeah.
relative ease of use. I
Yeah.
always say relative because you're overwhelmed by all the buttons.
For me, this fall, I had some lab assistants who were really bugging me to do an astrophotography course. And after having them for 3 years, I said, okay, this is it. You're graduating. I better do this. So it was so nice that Mike had made this program available. So I used it with my students, and they quickly, it was pretty quick, figured out how to do things. And like these worksheets, kind of my workflow for them starting out, not the fancy things. I kept adding in things, but you know, you can do some pretty quick processing and not the more complicated things.
Well, what and where are you teaching?
I teach at Mount Union. I teach, well, right now I'm just teaching intro astronomy, but I did teach last fall the astrophotography class. And I don't know if that'll happen again because I don't know if there's going to be the demand, but you know, I had 10 students who signed up. They wanted to do astro imaging
From all kinds of fields.
from all fields. I mean, I had art students and German students, theater, elementary
Well,
education, physics
Are
students.
you using the college equipment, or are you using yours?
Well,
teaching.
they came to our house because the college equipment wouldn't have done anything good.
Okay.
College equipment is not the college equipment needs work, and they're on the campus, so they're going to get dark skies. They're 20-minute drive for the kids. So they just came here. It worked with 10 students. They
We've
just
got a
came.
couple of observatories.
We have 2 observatories, so we have plenty of places and lots of equipment that the kids could use. Unfortunately, we've never settled down. We've got all kinds of telescopes and all kinds of cameras, so we're good. So
What's your primary instrument, if I may ask then?
our main instrument, which we're going to do Jupiter with tonight, is a TAC 250.
Okay.
And then we also have a TEC 1. We love TEC refractors, so we have a TEC 180. This picture was taken with a TEC 110, and so we use that. We'll use the 180 probably tonight. I don't know what we're going to image tonight. It's kind of looking okay out there. But look at the moon. Look how orange it is. So we obviously have smoke. Moon's
Yeah.
high enough to be past that, but we are. So
Yeah,
we like the 250 for planetary. We have trouble. It's giving us some guiding issues. And I think that's just the mount problem. But with planetary, you don't need to worry about that. The 180 tracks so well that it's nice for. And then this one, we don't even guide. We didn't guide with the 110. It's wide enough field. We don't need to guide. And those pictures were only 120 seconds. I went a little longer. Sometimes I do go longer, but I thought I was kind of blowing things out, so I didn't want to do that.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting me monopolize some questions.
No, that's fine. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
You said there's a worksheet available?
Yes, I emailed that to the listserv to the club.
Oh,
There should be an email from me, and I put it as a PDF or a Word document. I can't, well, I've already found one mistake, so maybe I should send it and fix it, but it's not polished, but it gives you something to follow through. And, you know, start at the beginning, and then some of the fancier steps later on, you may or may not need.
oh, okay. I didn't see it. I'll have to look
Sure.
through my email. The other question is, you said you did flat and dark.
Flat darks, yeah.
Yeah, how you do those?
So your light pictures are let's say they're 10 minutes long. Your
Right.
dark are also 10 minutes long at the same ISO.
Right.
Your flats, we use a light box and we expose, we use the histogram. We're using backyard EOS. So we look at the histogram of backyard EOS and we try to get that kind of in the middle.
Oh,
Whatever that exposure might be, it might be 3 seconds, 4 seconds. It's not long with our light
Okay.
box.
all right.
And then whatever that is, and you can use different ISOs. I don't change that. So I still use, whatever, I usually 800. And then
Okay.
my darks, the dark flats, I just put the cap on and same exposure. It's
Okay.
like the light frames,
All right.
Noise in your flat.
noise in the flats. Yeah. And that's all Images Plus does handle all that.
Okay, thank you.
I don't do bias. I know some people do bias. We've never done that. We just do the darks and flats.
Okay,
Flat darks.
thank you.
I really think though, there are times when I don't get time to do all the flats and darks. With these newer cameras, I don't even know we need our darks. Some of the newer cameras, they are so low noise that I do it just because that's what you're supposed to do. And I don't want to mess up. If it's a great picture, I don't want to say, oh, I should have taken darks, but I don't think it's.
Yeah, I don't see a button for gas hypersensitizing on them.
Sorry. No,
I got some in my freezer.
Okay.
different world, huh?
Yeah.
I was digging through a cabinet the other day and I found our 2 tanks up in the dark room in the
Wow.
observatory. Boy,
Wow.
We sure have evolved, haven't we?
yes, our enlarger is sitting in a corner, sort of a museum piece along with the Alvin Clark.
Mm.
Yeah, well, I know in college in 4 years, I got one picture of the Orion Nebula I was really proud of. And now it's like, oh, that's it? That's all you got?
Yeah, very
You can do
nice.
two- You can do 2 or 3 a night at this point.
Yeah.
Anybody else have
What was
questions?
that? What was
Yeah,
that?
which one is
That
camera?
would show-
That was my Olympus OM1 from 1978.
I still have mine too.
Yeah, and I got an OM10 as well. Those are my astrophotography cameras back when I was doing film.
Where do you buy film these days, Kenya?
I don't know. I didn't bother. I got 3 Astro cameras now, so I don't care.
Yeah.
I just picked up a 2600 ZWO.
We did too. We haven't used it yet. Have you ever used yours?
I've got 2 results so far because I've had 2 clear
Yeah?
nights in the last 2 months, and I like it better than my 071.
Okay, because we haven't, life's been kind of hectic here, so we thought we'd wait till things calm down and then we give it a try.
Yeah, I got on July 1st, I took the fireworks, and on August 1st, I took the bubble. Those are the only 2 nights I've had that were worth doing anything.
Now, what are you capturing with? What software are you using?
I'm using SG Pro.
Okay, that's probably what we'll end up doing too.
Right.
Yeah, I have my system set up so I can start it up and go to bed.
Yeah.
It's the only way to do it.
And I just pull the data down from the observatory computer in the
And
morning.
you're finding the focusing technique works pretty well, the autofocusing?
I have no, I don't actually. I use the SG Pro on my both systems. I've got a 10-inch RC, and then I've got a 300 millimeter fixed lens on piggyback, and I use the SG Pro autofocus for that. But I use a thing called Focus Lock on my 10-inch, and that's a real-time focus.
Oh,
It's a closed loop focus system using an on-axis guiding port.
okay.
If you want to see a picture, I can show you.
Yes. Well, if I stop sharing, you can share? How's that do? Let me stop sharing. Can you share?
Doug, as a side note, did you get any water damage in your little imaging studio there?
Actually, you mean here in the den? Yeah, we did. We got for the first time we actually got we had something back up into the lower levels. Let me just leave it at that.
How many of you were without power? Were you without power for any length of time?
Yeah, for about a day. I threw my battery backup charger in place so that we could keep the fridges going. But Let's see here. What was I gonna do?
Show,
You're gonna show us a picture.
your
Oh,
picture.
yeah. Okay. Let's see here.
Doug needs more memory.
Yeah, she's sitting in the other room. Okay, here we go. Here's the back end of it. I gotta share here.
You have to share, yes.
Yeah, hang on a second. Put this over here. I'm stealing your thunder here. I don't want to do
No,
that.
no, we're done. So it's always
Okay.
interesting to hear stuff.
All right, I want to
While you're processing, I appreciate all the information because I share this with my observational class. And I like to see all the different variants of software. Everybody has their own little flavor, so it's always nice to hear.
The nice thing for this one is it's free.
is that
Pretty easy to
show,
use at this
that
point.
showed up now?
Yes.
Okay. So what I was talking about is this is an on-axis guiding port from Innovation Foresight. It's got a diagonal in here that allows near infrared through to the guiding camera, and then white light to the acquisition camera. You can see my mouse, I'm assuming.
No. I'm not
Okay.
No, we're just seeing
Okay.
a message saying.
Start the screen
start
share.
the
We're not seeing
screenshot.
your stuff.
You can see the picture though, right?
No.
I can't.
The screen sharing is still spinning its wheels here.
Oh,
Yes, it says you started screen sharing.
Hmm.
hang on. How about now?
No.
Nope.
No,
Nope. Let me start it again. Do a new share.
I'm getting hypnotized.
You
Is
want
that
to
just
buy
your
a
dark
new-
frame?
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know why that's not working.
Hmm.
I'll stop sharing and I'll try it again.
Nope, same thing.
That's
Same
odd.
result.
Oh.
Yeah, strange.
Yep,
That's
that's Zoom for you.
Right.
Why I use WebEx. Okay, well, apparently not gonna get it to work. Because I got 100 megabit and 10 megabit up, so it should work. Let me try something else here. Let me shut off my video. Let me try this.
Same thing.
No, it doesn't like.
Mm-mm.
Doesn't like me. Okay.
Nothing.
Well, in any case, I'll just describe a little bit. There's a 90-degree diagonal that goes into the focuser. It has a diagonal that's got a coating that allows 600 nanometers and above straight through to the guiding camera. And then everything below that goes 90 degrees to the imaging camera. And what the focus lock does is looks at the guides camera's star that it's guiding on to determine if it's in focus or not. And since both cameras are parfocal, it tries to keep the guide star focus in real time. It might look for 15 frames and make a decision whether to move the focus or not, even while the imager is imaging. And so it's a closed loop solution that allows it to keep focus on the main system.
And you're happy with that?
Oh yeah, I don't have to deal with temperature changes or anything. It automatically handles everything for the entire night.
We actually purchased this and we haven't got it up and running yet. So if we get into trouble, we can say, "Doug, how do you do
Oh,
this?"
well, this is independent whether you got the 2600 or not. It's
Right,
the
right. No, we bought this system.
which system?
The thing with focus lock and everything. We just
Oh,
we haven't put it together yet to work on it.
Oh, do you have the on-axis guiding port?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been using it for 4 years.
We haven't done it. That's all.
Okay. I've been using it for about 4 years now, so
Okay.
it works fine for me.
Cool. Anybody? Yeah. Any other questions?
I do have a question, Jodi and Roy. Let's say an amateur was trying to capture meteors and had the camera DSLR on parts of the sky clicking away, 15-second exposures on a tripod, no guiding. So someone might have gotten one with a meteor, but I've got all these other shots of the Milky Way and other parts of the sky that I'd like to stack. So since there was no tracking going on, we'll trying to think the name of this thing, Images Plus. Will that
Yeah.
handle the fact that the field has shifted,
Yes.
each frame, and I'll be able to stack those?
So let
Translate,
me
scale,
show
rotate.
let me show you something here. I'm going to share the screen again. Let me go back to Images Plus. So when you're in Images Plus, and you do, I don't have it anymore. It's under, where have I got this listed down here? Where I automatically pick 2 stars and let it stack. And I said,
Mhm.
that's on the reference
Yeah.
image. You can actually do it on each frame.
Yeah.
And that'll take care of the fact that everything has moved, because it doesn't, it might stack them, but it probably won't recognize it because it starts to move and then you lose it. So you can do on each frame, you have to go 1 frame at a time. And in fact, I've got a great course head that we did that we had to go 1 frame, 250 pictures, 1 frame at a time, and pick those stars and that same star in each one. The other thing, yes.
Before you go any further with that, have you tried Deep Sky Stacker to stack 1,500 frames?
No, I've not.
I don't have to pick any stars. It will stack them.
You know, I guess I did do that. And Images Plus has one of those features too. And I like that very well if I'm doing a wide field Milky Way where there aren't really very many bright stars. You can have it automatically just stack. That's one of the features. I didn't pull that up here. I don't think I can do that right now to show you.
Okay.
It'll do it. I just haven't, I think I get better results if I can pick a star, but if I can't pick a star, if the stars are too tiny, then I let it stack itself. And I know I've used these, I guess I have used Deep Sky Stacker and it does a nice job. But Images Plus will do that too.
Okay.
Especially if you're doing camera shots and not telescope shots. You just can't, you don't have a bright enough star. They're all tiny.
Yeah, so I was using a pretty wide angle lens, 24 millimeter, full frame. And so I've got, probably a couple dozen per composition that, it's going to have slow drip to it. So I'll try this and then maybe Deep Sky Tracker or whatever.
Sure.
I'll do something with it.
When
Yeah,
you
if you got-
stack, I don't think you want to do min, max, average. So I think you want to do maximum. You know what? If that's where I've, well, this is under, where is that? Combining. That's not it there. This is step 3, where you are combining. You don't want to choose min, max, exclude average, because it might wipe out your meteor shots, because it's different. That's something different.
Yeah.
So you want to
Well,
choose a different stack.
You probably want to choose max.
You want to choose max, and that way you wouldn't lose your frames that have the, like, if, well, all right,
Get
so
all your
if you have satellites in there, if you've got the Elon Musk Starlinks in there, you do the min, max, exclude, it wipes it out. You don't have to see them, but you wouldn't want to do that because you'd lose your meteors. So you want to use the max instead of the max.
Okay. Just max. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Play with it. I mean, but I think that's the way you would.
Yeah.
But you
Okay.
should be able to. I mean, if we're not, if we were doing the comet last fall, we weren't tracking. We just were taking pictures, and I would just go in and pick on stars and combine them. I mean, it didn't move a lot because I was using a camera instead of the telescope, but it worked well.
Right. Okay,
Anybody
thank you.
else? Sure. Anybody else?
Okay. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Jodi and Roy.
Sure. If you have any questions, if you start using Images Plus, I can't get this to work, let me know. I just send a message through. You got my, if you want to send personally, do they have that access?
I don't know if they have your address
Let me give you my email address. If you want to send it, can I type this in here?
in chat.
Under chat. I'll give you my email address. That way, if you have questions, JMCCUL.
I'm extremely impressed with the power of that program for being freeware.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It was not. So it's jmccul@hotmail.com. And just put something like Images Plus in the message line. If you don't hear from me, send it to me again, because sometimes things get lost in the shuffle there, but there it is. So if you have questions, let me know.
What do you have there, Norm?
I can send her a letter with a stamp.
Oh.
Stamps, yeah.
I did-
I
Yeah.
picked these up at the Dexter Post Office the other day.
That's
we got
nice.
that.
Cool.
Get
That
out
was
front.
nice.
Good.
You won't use any of your stamps to send me a letter.
No, that's the weird thing is I'm not gonna stick this on a bill to Comcast or anything like that.
Yeah, at least make it a
Post
good
office makes
letter.
money that way.
Yeah.
don't
Yeah, Christmas cards or something.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, especially in the winter, people will need to see pictures of the sun, will make them feel a little warmer, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, quite a nice variety, actually.
yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you very much again. So Joy, or trying to combine your names, Jodi and Roy.
we? We've had that happen before.
Guess that would be shorter that way, huh? Anyway, could you use a lowbrow t-shirt or hat?
Sure. Maybe-
Preference?
maybe- you know what? Hang on to it because we may come up to one of your meetings and you give it to us live. Well, and maybe you're not live though, are you?
Ah,
Yeah, we don't really know when we're going live at this
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
but we've been shipping people shirts or
Okay.
t-shirts.
All right,
So,
sure. Well, Roy's a large and I'm a medium.
okay,
T-shirts are-
sounds like t-shirts. All right.
t-shirts
I
are
assume
good.
you got that, Doug?
I do.
Cool.
I'll
Yeah,
get 'em on
Doug's
the
up
way,
in
and I-
Traverse City, but we can ship from there too.
I keep
Yeah,
forgetting,
it's
I
amazing. We
keep
have all the
forgetting,
modern conveniences.
I keep forgetting I have to ignore when somebody says Doug, because it's not me.
So who's
last-
older?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't either. We're probably pretty close.
Yeah, we are. We're both retired. No, I just said at one point there were 4 or 5 Dougs in the club.
Yes. There still are, actually. Doug Warshow, there's you, there's me. DC Moons is actually a Doug, but he doesn't go by Doug. Well, so we have at least 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Too many Dougs.
Okay,
We're gonna slide out because it's clear.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same.
thanks again.
I gotta open up the
Thank you.
observatory.
Seeing everybody.
Okay,
Bye.
Bye-bye.
take care.
Bye.
So with that, we'll move into the business meeting. The only thing I have to report is Dave Jorgensen has been busy filling in our 2022 speaker schedule. He just filled in a couple more just in the last week or so. And then today, I reached out to Dan Durda. You might remember he spoke to us, I believe it was October of 2019. It's always cool to get famous speakers. And then, of course, the bonus that Dan Durda is a previous Lowbrow president. So anyway, I reached out to see if he would be willing to do a repeat, knowing that it might have to be a Zoom meeting this time, being that he lives in Boulder, Colorado. And also mentioned that we're particularly anxious to fill in January, since that'll be here sooner than we'd like. And actually, he took January. He is going to have to do it as a Zoom meeting, if for no other reason than he is going to be forget someplace out this direction generally for Christmas, and then out to California and back. So he's going to be kind of traveled out by the time that meeting rolls around. But I figure Zoom is just fine. So, but the reason I'm bringing it up too is not just that we signed him up for January, but the thing he's going to talk about is that he is actually going to get a ride aboard Virgin Galactic or Blue Horizons. So just to prove lowbrows make it to high places, huh? So it'll be interesting to see. He's going to talk about the preparation, what they have to do so if he can do that flight. So that ought to be exciting. That's all I had. So I will move on to other officers, and I will start with Amy.
Yeah, I don't have anything. I'm gonna send out the message tomorrow for the next newsletter, but I did have a question, Charlie. You said that where do you keep the list of the speakers? Is that something I should have? That?
Yeah, it's on Google Drive.
I don't know why I don't see it. Is that?
Dave regularly posts the list of speakers as he updates as he gets you know, as he fills in the list.
Right, and I was planning to include them, in the newsletter and update it each month, but yeah, I guess I just have to figure out.
Yeah, if not, let Jeff know and he can make sure that you're added to that so that you can access it.
Okay,
Also, I sent an email today. I believe I attached a hard copy, unless I forgot to do the attachment. I'll double check. If not, I'll resend it and send the hard copy. So
Maybe you can get the director of NASA this time instead of a lowly deputy director.
yeah.
How did that come up? That was amazing.
Oh,
Very
that's
good.
one Dave's been working on for a while, even before he went down to NASA. And
Wow.
we finally got him, but by the time we did, he was working for NASA. So that was pretty cool.
Sorry, Charlie, you just said something, you mentioned my name and I was writing something down, so I didn't hear. Is there something I can provide for you, you said? Or is that a different Doug?
No, I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Okay, I'm not either, obviously.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, that's okay. Was that it, Amy?
yeah, that's it.
Okay, appreciate it. So is Dave Jorgensen still with us?
Yes.
Yeah, there he is.
Charlie, I have nothing to report, but I think both you and I have been gathering speakers for 2022, and things are looking better. We got it. You got the speaker for January, so that's terrific.
Yeah, a few more gaps to fill in there, but it's looking pretty good at this point. So
Yeah.
There's some tentatives, so I got to remember to reach out to those tentatives well in advance and see if we can erase the tentative part of it. But overall, it's looking pretty good. So, and that's just the problem. We try to be very proactive, but the further you schedule out, the more chance that one of those is, or more than one, is not going to work out after all. So what do you do,
Dave, you, Jack, and I need to get together to test the 17 and a half.
Yeah, I think when we last spoke, or when we were last together, we talked about sort of like mid-August, but so we're there.
Yep, we're there.
Whenever you guys want to get together, Jim or Jack, I'm home most of the time, so just give me a ring. We'll set it up.
Yeah, this would be an evening.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, we want to look at the sky. Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah. Just set it up, track, and follow some stars, things like that.
Okay.
Get it up and active again.
Yeah. Well, actually, last night and was really very nice. It could have been a good night for that, but anyway, we'll just have to look at the weather and pick a good night.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty much free through the end of the month, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so am I. So we should be able to get something together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Doug?
So we have 169 memberships, and that sounds exciting, but temper that with the fact that about 10 of those I would have expelled by now for not payment of dues, except for the COVID situation. So we're carrying 10 of them right now, and the number just is slowly creeping up. And we have $10,407.09 in the treasury. And my only big expense from the last month, since the last meeting, was we paid our $100 donation to the IDA, to the International Dark Sky Association. And that's it for this month.
Thank you, Doug. I'll move to Jack, and then I think Norbert, you had something after that? Oh, okay, I saw your hand gesture. Okay,
I
Jack.
do have something else, Charlie, but I could talk after Jack.
Oh, okay. All right, Jack.
Okay. Just a quick update. We have been doing some more work out the observatory on this tree reorganization.
and that's coming along. It's taken a while though. Too many rainy days have not been too helpful. And generally, oh, the other thing is on this whole thing with the graffiti on the observatory, I'll probably go out and order some new paint. I don't have any, we used all that paint up when we finished painting the observatory, so I'm gonna have to reorder it. And the radio observatory, they've been doing work around there and fixing up the fences, actually putting in new fencing and some other upgrades that are going on out there right now. So basically, finally, with the way things are going with this whole thing with COVID, I don't see any open houses coming up in September or October. It's just the way things are going, and all the other things. Just a side note, I realize U of M has a issue with all students being vaccinated, faculty, staff, things like that. Being that we are on U of M property, I'm not sure what the outcome of that's going to be in the long run within the next couple of months. One issue that did happen that's not related to astronomy, but did surprise me. Some of you are familiar with the Arc in downtown Ann Arbor.
Yes.
And the only reason I'm bringing this up is I have tickets to a presentation there next Saturday, and I got an email yesterday requiring everybody to be vaccinated before they can enter the building. Now, how they're going to verify that, I don't know, but I've noticed certain venues and other people are starting to do things like that. So with that, things like that, I just have looked at this whole thing with reopening the observatory. I just don't see it happening, at least not within the next couple of months, unless there's some dramatic change going on, especially if we're going to have an open house with children under the age of 12. There's a big argument with that going on their safety, which
Yeah, kids are starting to get sick, and a lot of children's hospitals, especially in the South, are just about out of beds.
So other than that's really all I have to report about. Any questions on the observatory or anything we're doing? Oh, one other thing, I just thought about this. I know Jeff sent out an email, I think it was today, Jeff Kopanis. I guess someone contacted him about having just like a daylight observing, not an observing session, but just a day thing showing the observatory inside, outside the grounds, and that sort of like a one of those daytime event things. You know, I don't know how many people are going to attend and what they're planning on doing, but even before I did that, if we're going to have groups available, or if there's going to be like general public, we need to sit down and discuss that if there's some issues there we don't understand about this.
Jack, I would imagine there's probably a fair amount of dust on stuff and spider webs and all that other stuff from lack of use. I notice at Fish Lake, I've got wild turkeys and deer and other critters around the buildings that just never been there before because of such lack of use. So are you seeing, are they keeping the grounds mowed and all that other stuff?
Well, we're out there with, shall we say, chainsaws and creating some ruckus and noise.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that many deer out there. I haven't seen that many turkeys this year neither, but I still go out to the observatory out there every so often because of just general maintenance and that. I've actually went out there, and I know this sounds crazy, but I've actually went out there and turned on the electronics for the drive and stuff like that, grabbed the scope and moved it up and down just to make sure something isn't stuck that I don't know about. And I went through with the maintenance on the wheels and roof, things like that, just to keep things going, to make sure something doesn't get, I'll just use the term, get stuck or hard of use, things like that.
Takes a set.
Yeah. All
Well,
of a
our
sudden you go
little,
out there, nothing moves,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, our little secondary dome, the C925 Edge that we have in there, the counterweight bar was rusted. There's dust on everything. It just hasn't been getting used. So boy, it's amazing how quickly everything picks up. And I think the dome motors are stuck on me. So
Well, you're gonna have to,
yeah,
yeah, you're gonna have to get somebody to go up there maybe, I don't know, every month and just move everything around and just to make sure the general motion in that works okay. Because I tell you, it can be a problem. I mean, over the years, we've been doing maintenance and repairs to the roof and everything else too. So I'm glad of that. So I still think it's in pretty good shape. The big thing we wanted to do was go out one night and actually test the drive and everything and the tracking and the Sky Safari Pro and the system and just run it that way, but I haven't done that. I've done it manually in-house by hooking everything up, getting I have an iPad I use, set it up on there, and then as I move the telescope back and forth, I'd watch the crosshairs move on the iPad back and forth too. So at least some of it was still working and functioning the correct way. So that's what I had done with that. But that's just, coming up with general maintenance and taking care of it. That's all. So anything else?
Doesn't look like it. So I
Okay.
see Jeff has been able to rejoin us. So I'm going to move to him real quick because I don't know how much time he's got. Well, maybe not. I see his picture there. Can you hear us, Jeff?
He looks muted on his picture.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
he's not moving. Maybe he's
Yeah,
frozen up like the telescope.
I was going to say he turned statue. So, okay, Jim.
Yeah, sent out an email, guess it was end of last week or the week before, about the sale of Tom Reichel's astronomy equipment.
Oh, yeah.
And there's been interest, about $3,000 of inventory have been reserved and nothing is sold yet. Well, I guess a couple of pieces are actually sold, but the great majority of items are still available. There's a lot of eyepieces. There are 3 10-inch Dodd telescopes. One of them has a Starlight Instruments Feather Touch on it. There's a whole lot of binoculars, and some of these are really, really great binoculars. And, the only knock on them is they're, 10, 15 years old, and the glass and coatings on high-end binoculars have improved quite a bit, but nonetheless, these are really nice binoculars, most of them anyway, for pretty good prices. And you should take a look at the catalog. And the main drawback is that the equipment's in Rochester Hills, and you'd have to make the drive out there to pick things up. We're having a sale on the 18th and 19th of September, noon to 6, and you can come out and check stuff out and look at it. You can do that beforehand, but you do have to make special arrangements to do that. Tom's brother Bob is out there essentially getting the place ready to be sold, cleaned out. And he usually does that on the weekends. And I could use some help on the sale days. You know, I've had Don Foley working on this with me, and he's done, you know, he put together the catalog. Don put together the catalog, but Don is going to be out of town on that weekend. And so if any of you are available, I'd, you know, get a hold of me and we'll figure something out. I can drive, but like I said, I'm going to need an extra hand those 2 days. I guess that's it.
Thanks, Jim. Does anybody have anything else?
I was gonna add that Brian Tiffany's inventory, the late Brian Tiffany's inventory of equipment is also going. It seems like we have 2 or 3 of these sales going on. And he got probably 100 eyepieces, many of them which are Teleview Radians, and you name it, he's got it, including his Muon and his Astrophysics 1200 mount. If you got a cool 20,000 laying around, it's
Yeah,
pretty
Tom Reichel's
astonishing.
equipment isn't quite that high end,
Yeah,
but it's
no, Brian was an optician by trade, and man, he has an astonishing array. John Warren, some of you may know, visits the Great Lakes Stargaze. He'll be at the Stargaze. They'll probably bring some of it up to the Stargaze, which is going to be, again, sort of a laid back, no talks kind of thing this year again. But they already have something like 50 people registered, and some of that will be addressed there. I'll be at the Stargaze this year. No rockets.
What's the dates on the Stargaze again?
I think it's the weekend after Labor Day, so it's coming up quick.
Ooh, I got to take a trip kind of that direction, but for work, so that wipe that out. Okay.
In fact, Kevin
Unless-
Daney just called me.
Unless somebody has anything else, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I was going to say, nobody wants to, huh? All right. Hear no opposition. So with that, good night, everybody. Thanks for attending.
good night, Charlie.
Hey,
Take
Good
care.
night, everybody.
see y'all.
Bye.